Have you ever imagined what it feels like when a man dedicates his whole life to God, gives up every worldly desire, stands alone for truth, and then in the end is betrayed by the very person he loves most? This is the story of Prophet Syamun Al-Ghozi, a mighty messenger of God, a man blessed with divine strength, whose miracles astonished nations, yet whose heart was broken not by enemies, but by his own wife. The world of that time was drowning in tyranny and disbelief. Kings called themselves gods, and the weak were crushed under their rule. In that age of darkness, Allah sent his chosen servant, Syamun Al-Ghozi, to call people back to faith and remind them that there is only one true Lord who rules all creation. Day and night the Prophet preached mercy and repentance, but the hearts of his people were harder than stone. They mocked him, called him a magician, and plotted against him, but Syamun never lost patience. He turned only to his Lord. Allah had granted him a miraculous power. Whenever he spoke by Allah's command, nature itself obeyed. When he said, "Be healed by the will of Allah," the sick were cured. When he said, "See by Allah's permission," the blind opened their eyes. Yet he always said humbly, "This is not my power, it is the power of my Lord." His miracles shook the throne of a cruel king who feared losing his people's worship. The king said to his minister, "If this prophet lives, my throne will fall." The minister warned, "O king, he has heavenly power, you cannot touch him." The king replied coldly, "Every power has a weakness, find it." Thus began the darkest conspiracy. The prophet's wife was a woman of striking beauty, but a heart still tempted by the glitter of the world. The king sent her jewels, gold, and promises of royalty if she would reveal the secret of her husband's strength. At first she refused, but Satan whispered, "This is your chance to rule the world." Slowly, her heart gave way. One night, while the prophet was deep in prayer, she asked softly, "O prophet of God, how do these miracles happen through your hands?" Syamun smiled and said, "It is a secret between me and my Lord. I am only his servant." But she kept asking again and again, until one day, moved by her tears and love, he said, "My strength lies in the name of Allah. When I pronounce his holy name, all creation bows before his command." That single confession was the key the enemies needed. The next night, soldiers stormed into the prophet's home, gagged his mouth so he could not utter the divine name, and chained his hands. The mighty prophet, whose words once shook mountains, was now bound in darkness. The king stood before him and mocked, "Where is your power now, O prophet? Call your God to free you." Syamun closed his eyes and prayed silently, "My Lord, this is your test. I will be patient." Though his tongue was bound, his heart still cried, "Allah, Allah." Days passed. His body weakened, but his faith grew stronger. His wife came to the prison weeping. Seeing her husband wounded and frail, she fell to her knees. "Forgive me," she cried. The prophet looked up and said gently, "I forgive you. But remember, whoever betrays a servant of Allah will never find peace." These words pierced her soul like a sword. The king, furious that Syamun still lived, ordered his execution. But when the soldiers raised their weapons, the earth began to tremble, thunder roared, lightning split the sky, and the king's palace crumbled to dust. Amid the chaos, the prophet's lips moved in silent remembrance of Allah, and his soul departed peacefully to the heavens. The tyrant died beneath his own throne, and his betraying queen lived the rest of her days in torment, hearing her husband's voice echoing in every breath she took. People later said that every night she woke screaming, "O Syamun, I betrayed you, forgive me." But no sleep ever came to her again. Generations learned from her sin. Those who plot against God's chosen destroy only themselves. The sacrifice of Prophet Syamun Al-Ghozi taught the world that faith is the greatest power, and that Allah tests his servants but never abandons them. Even today, whenever a believer endures hardship, keeps silent, and trusts only Allah, he walks the same path of patience that Syamun Al-Ghozi once walked. So, my dear listener, remember this: faith is the most precious treasure, and love of this world is its deadliest poison. Those who hold firmly to Allah will never truly lose. If life tests you, if betrayal wounds you, whisper from your heart, "Indeed, we belong to Allah, and to Him we shall return." We shall. If this story touched your heart, Subscribe to our channel for more soul-moving Islamic stories that revive your faith and bring you closer to your Creator.